Hey guys, so here today I have the LeEco Cool1 Dual. Now this is a new mobile phone that has been built between Cool1 and LeEco. LeEco actually owns quite a majority stake apparently in Cool1. They're another manufacturer that manufactures mobile phones and tablets and other electronics. And so they've done a joint venture here. So this mobile phone has a Snapdragon 652 and it has an interesting camera setup. It's got a dual camera setup, so two 13 megapixel cameras and a setup very similar to the Huawei P9, you could say. So one of them is a monochrome sensor, and the other one is just a standard 13 color megapixel sensor, but both of them will combine the images together to give hopefully a better shot. It's got a 4000 milliamp hour battery as well, quick charging. This one here I picked up from AliExpress because the retailers I like to use, like GearBest and Banggood, they didn't have this yet in stock. So no doubt it would have been opened up because that's what they normally do, these sellers. Let's get into this. They normally open up the boxes and put Play Store on there for me, hopefully, so I don't have to go ahead and install that myself. They do their quality control checks, although it looks like it's fully sealed, so that's not too bad. There's an included adapter, obviously. So this box is completely sealed, and on the back here we have just a few specs outlined. You can see there. So this model I have here has the 3 gigabytes of RAM and the 32 gigabyte eMMC for storage. You can get other versions that have 4 gigabytes of RAM, but I just decided to get this one because it's the one they had available at the moment. And it looks to have the seals intact, or they've just shrink wrapped that, I think. Now those seals look to be broken to me. So let's get this thing open. Yes, those seals are broken. So they've just shrink wrapped them themselves, and hopefully they have installed Google Play for me. But there will be the Indian ROMs. The Indian ROMs for the LeEco devices, they normally always have Play Store already installed. Okay, let's get this open. Alright, so they have included for me a tempered glass screen protector there. That's just a little gift. And let's have a look at the device very quickly there. So you can see there's that dual camera arrangement, and we have a fingerprint reader on the back there. So similar to the Huawei P9, we've got 2 cameras there, and I will check them out and go outside and get a lot of camera samples to see if this does improve the quality, because they do claim 20% better sharpness, better color accuracy as well, and better in low light. So I'm going to have to check that out. You see a secondary mic here. There's 2-tone LED flash. Along the bottom we have Type-C port there for charging. Unfortunately, there's no headphone jack either. This is something that LeEco is doing. Whoa, hang on. What am I saying? Actually, they've got one. I didn't expect that for some reason. So there we go. Sorry, get the camera to focus on that. And we do have IR blaster along there. So I get these screen protectors off. Won't be needing those. And protect it on. So I'm just going to put this phone to the side for a second and have a look at what else we have in the box there. So obviously those are just the screen protectors I just pulled off. Some instruction manuals, warranty, yada yada yada. That's all in Chinese, no use to me there. So we have the SIM tray tool and a USB Type-C cable there for data and charging. It's actually packaged up quite nice there, and a little charger. It's not that big at all. So have a look at the rating of this, if I can read that. So 5 volts, 2 amps. So that's interesting. That's not the full quick charge spec, although the Snapdragon 652 does support quick charging. It's a little bit like Xiaomi. Their devices, what they have done, they haven't included the proper quick chargers. I don't know why they're doing that. Maybe that's cost saving. So here's a close-up of the device. This back here is an alloy, and it looks like the top and bottom pieces are made out of plastic, probably for the antennas there to help with the signal reception. You see here it says LeEco inside, cool pad, and there is the volume up and down, and the power button, which feels like that is made out of metal to me. So on the left hand side is the SIM tray. Now unfortunately there's no support yet again LeEco have not included SD card, micro SD card support, which is very disappointing to see. So that's going to take 2 nano SIMs there. So the build quality in general seems really good. I don't know whether this edge around the outside is just a chromed plastic made to look like metal. You can see we have yet again those large black bezels. So let's get this powered on now and have a look. Should be battery in there with that large capacity. So I imagine, I have not powered this on yet, that the seller has probably already gone on and gone through the initial setup. They would have started out in Chinese. Okay, it's just come up with something about Gmail. Oh no, they have still got the setup there. So maybe they did flash just their own ROM on here. So I do have to go through the first setup. It's asking me to insert a SIM card. I will do that later on, of course. Wireless set up later. So if you're not familiar with LeEco's EUI, they call it, it's a similar kind of setup. Well, it's made to kind of mimic or look a little bit like, you could say Apple, but maybe not really. It's their own skin on top of Android 6 at the moment. So here we have, it does have an Apple feel to it though, the look of the icons, and especially with that desktop background there too they have used. So there's no toggles from the top with their ROMs when you pull down. And using the recent apps button, they are backlit. Hopefully you can see that. It's a little hard to make out. The recent home and the recent apps, sorry, there you can see that along here this is where we can toggle the screen brightness. So just increase that. That's maximum brightness there. That looks very bright. And we'll have a quick look at the screen. Let's get that up close, get my camera to focus on it for you. So here we go. It doesn't look bad at all, just a first impressions, but those bezels on there, the black bezels, wow. Yeah, I think it's probably better to get the black model and it won't stand out as much, those bezels. It's really disappointing. So 3 gigabytes of RAM. You can see I've got 1.9 available. And I have a quick look here at bloatware. Normally they do just pack on quite a bit. Play Store is there. That's good to see. And the other apps we have. So that's it. Oh, we have system tools. So there's a few things there. And actually the ROM doesn't seem too bad. I can feel a tiny little bit of haptic feedback there, the vibration from the motor inside. It's a nice subtle little touch there. So quickly go and have a look at the camera settings. Actually, before I do, there is no bloat on there, is there really? Okay, they've got Super Manager. That's just basically like a Clean Master application. That's their own one. That's all it is copying the Clean Master. And swiping left to the right, there is nothing. So that's actually quite good to see. Perhaps it's just the ROM that my seller has flashed on there for me. We've got the remote control. That's for the IR blaster. I won't go into details of that. And then just standard applications there like Gmail, Play Music is there, phone dialer, everything else. Okay, that's come up for some reason there. So have a quick look at the camera. So I can see they've definitely done a lot of work now with the stock camera application. It's still got the same feel of it like the other LeEco camera apps that I have used. For example, in the Le Max 2, which is in the background of the shot. See photo mode, beauty, pro. Pro is going to let us tweak the, okay, so we can change and adjust the white balance there. Keep that in auto exposure time. That can also be changed. So the exposure goes right up there. Manual focus, that is good to see. ISO setting. ISO goes right up to 3200. White balance. Okay, so yeah, we can expose a few things there that we can tweak. Okay, here we go. I was looking for that. Contrast, saturation is there too. So I'll go back just into the standard photo mode. So here we have video mode. And we got the video resolution can be changed right up to 4K. That's good. And we have a night setting here. Night mode is suitable for shooting low light conditions. Please hold your device as stable as possible. Yeah, that makes sense. And SLR levels. Okay, that's giving us the depth of field, background, blur effects. Similar to that of the Xiaomi Redmi Pro that I have. And a 4K video sample. So all I've done is just change the 4K setting, nothing else on here. Now I don't know whether this is using the dual sensors. You can see that it doesn't have any digital image stabilization, nothing like that. Autofocus does have continual autofocus, but I can see it's having trouble.
There's locking in and out there. Seems to be doing what the LG G2 and G3 used to suffer from, which was that autofocus breathing, so it's struggling to get lock. Now I'll have a look at the blue sky. Now blue sky is something the LeMax 2 had a lot of problems with lots of artifacts in the sky. So any color source that was the same exact continual color, it would get all these artifacts all over it. So that focus is horrible. That's having a lot of problems getting locked there. And how does it handle walking into the shade here? Here's a quick front-facing camera sample. It has the 8 megapixel sensor on there that can actually shoot this time around in 1080p.
Have a look at the weight of it. So it weighs 172 grams, and the Xiaomi Redmi Pro, similar mobile, weighs 175. Now the thickness of it, the camera does stick out a little there, the camera bump, so I'll measure that right there, the thickest point, and that is 9.3 millimeters, and at the thinner points on the body is 8.5 millimeters. So a quick size comparison. Here's the Cool1 Dual with 5.5 inches. This is the LeEco LeMax 2 with 5.7 inches. Here's the Xiaomi Redmi Pro. It's another 5.5 inch device. And here is the Mi Max that has 6.44 inches. Alright, so I switched over to a different camera with external microphones here just to listen to the loudspeaker. So I turned the volume right up to 100%. Okay, that sounds a little disappointing. It's not as loud as I hoped it would be, and the quality of it, well, there's really no bass in that, is there? It's all tinny. So I'll just have a quick look at the settings before I forget to do this and cover that in the video. So about phone, you can see there that yes, Snapdragon 652 with 8 cores, not 6, that's a Snapdragon 650 that has the 6 cores, and that's the version it's running, is 14S stable. And it is, of course, running Android 6.0.1. Let's have a look at the fingerprint scanner now. So it's just like my LeMax 2 that I have. You have to go along there and add the fingerprint from fingerprint and password. And you need a password first. So pin code. Okay, so add my fingerprint. This will be just like the LeEco Max. So you need to press your finger down. I think that was about 10 times there. So I'll lock the screen now and see if that's going to work. Okay, that just worked every time I tried it then. So looks like it's going to be all right. Versions as well and larger capacities, but you've got micro SD card support. This doesn't have micro SD card support. 1080p screens, a different technology. This one here is IPS. This is OLED, and the OLED one has better blacks, so it looks deeper, the blacks on there. I would say probably a better screen on the Redmi Pro. Now when it comes to those cameras that they have on there, the different setup. So the secondary camera on the Redmi Pro is a 5 megapixel one that is only used for depth of field shots and that stereo effect. It's not like the Cool1 Dual setup, which is two 13 megapixel cameras. One is monochrome and the other is color, so they both combine the images. That doesn't happen. So and we can see that we have the fingerprint reader is on the rear and then it's on the front on the Redmi Pro here. Size-wise, they are very similar. Weight-wise, they're both around the same weight at 175 grams there. And the thickness of them, the Redmi is maybe about 1 millimeter thinner. And of course, you've got different UIs as well there with both of them. This is the MIUI and then that is the EUI. So that's the unboxing there, and my first impressions aren't actually that good. I will say that I am very disappointed in the camera performance. The video performance of 4K there, it has bad post-processing, it's got a lot of over-sharpening, it has seems to be oversaturated in some parts, and the black levels, There's really the dynamic range. There's just lacking. It's very poor. Autofocus issues as well. It's constantly doing that in and out breathing autofocus thing that the old LG G2 used to do. And that really just ruins video so far. And the photo quality from what I've seen, again, post-processing seems to be over-sharpening there. So what positives does it have that I've found so far? Well, the build quality of it does feel really good in hand. It feels very solid. And the ROM is light there, that you can't see any bloatware, at least on the ROM that I have on my particular version here. And okay, another thing to point out as well, that there's no micro SD card slot. I expected that, well knowing that when I bought this, yes, that I could not expand the storage. It's only really just a review unit. I would probably have gone for the 64GB version, me personally, for more storage there for my music and everything else. And the black bezels around the screen, again, I knew that was going to happen. That is something LeEco are doing and a lot of other Chinese phones. If you get the black version, you don't see those bezels as much. They blend in a little bit better and they're not so noticeable there. So I will be back later on with the full review of the Cool1 Dual here. And I will have more samples as well. In that video, I'll take some other camera samples, go out and record some other video that's not just around my house, but go to some other locations and see if it performs any better. Hopefully there's going to be some firmware updates coming out quick and smart from LeEco to correct some of those issues I have just seen. Now, if you haven't subscribed, why not think about doing that, because I have plenty more up and coming. Bye for now.